This is what I've done with the vocals. I've got three vocals here. I've got a lead vocal and then two backing vocals. We'll start with the lead vocal here. The vocal goes, throughout the song. Starts with the verses, and then sings during the pre-chorus. And then we have sort of an instrumental chorus kind of a thing, and then we're back into the verses again. And then there's sort of a singing slash rapping kind of thing, sort of like a spoken word towards the end. And I've got the standards EQ compressor and noise gate on. EQ is a sort of simple pop vocal. It sort of just takes out the unnecessary low end of a vocal, and just sort of it decreases sort of the chest range of the vocal, sort because that's kind of where often a lot of the sort of nasally kind of sounds come in. So it's good to reduce that, and then is increases the higher end. That really sort of accentuates the higher end to the vocal, and lifts it up. Then I've got a compressor studio vocal here. It's a reasonable amount of compression, 4.8 to 1, with a 20 minus 22 dB threshold. It increases the volume of the vocal quite a lot, and it sort of gives it kind of like a clean um, a clean audio vocal, sort of like it was, recorded in a studio, which it was. It sort of accentuates that, which I think is good. And then I've got a noise gate, which just sort of tightens up the vocals and removes any unwanted noise. When it's just silence, there's nothing that could be heard in the background or anything, and it is definitely silence. I've got a de-esser and an expander. The de-esser sort of, yeah, I've got it on reduced presence. Um, it kind of, what it does is, I like it because it kind of connects the lead vocal up with the track. It sort of allows them to sort of blend and merge together a bit, um, and it doesn't keep the vocal sort of separate from the rest of the track. And then the expander sort of lifts the higher end, and it kind of, while the DS sort of blends it with the track, the expander still gives the vocal that slight edge, um, and expands the higher end, so it's more, it's what you'll listen to with your ears, because that high end has just been um, accentuated up, um, and so it just gives the vocal a slight lift so that it's still the key thing that you're listening to. I've also got a stereo spread on the vocals, just sort of um, widen out that vocal and give it, really round it out. So it's sort of, the vocal seems like it's all around, um, and sort of, as if it's sort of like around the track. It's sort of like the edge of the track, as if the track was just like a circle, and in the middle you've got your kick and your snare and your bass, but the vote, and then it sort of spreads out. The vocals sort of just that kind of top layer. And then I've also got a bass with an ensemble and a chorus. This sort of just sort of makes the vocal a bit more rich, sort of the ensemble especially, because I got rich modulation on it, and it just sort of creates the vocal to be um, just a little bit thicker. I've got it on a bus, so I don't have the full effect of these. The chorus just sort of adds a bit of texture to the vocals, so it's not just not just plain. I want these to be sort of subtle, which is why they're on a bus. So it's only it's not fully just full power of that, but you still get a little bit of it, so it just kind of adds to the vocal, somewhat. I've got two backing vocals as well. They're the same thing, just doubled and then panned. I've done this just sort of to, so you've got one in each ear, just sort of to widen out the vocal, so it's more kind of in the background. It's not in the forefront. And again, channel compression and a noise gate. EQ's just sort of on soft background vocals, removing all the unnecessary low end and really bringing out the high ends. It's sort of what you want. And then the compressor again, it's a light vocal, sort of lightly compressing it, not too hard, but um, just to sort of tighten up the vocal a little bit and reduce some of the highs and increase the lows, just so it's slightly closer together, to make that vocal just a little bit more together. And then the noise gate is just sort of removing any unwanted noises or hisses or something, that just isn't needed. That just sort of you can just take out, and it doesn't add background noise that doesn't add anything. And then I've got a chorus and an ensemble here. A chorus just sort of it sort of like multiplies the vocal, as if there was just sort of a few more vocals than there actually is, and it just sort of makes the vocal just a bit more rich, and sort of a bit more texture, so it's not just kind of a plain vocal in the background. There's more sort of more vocal ambience to that backing vocal, and the ensemble sort of just adds to that. It's sort of a bigger effect, and really makes the vocal sort of like there's sort of multiple vocals just in the background of the song that's just sort of coming out. And then I've also got a bit of reverb just to give some ambience, and just give that backing vocal some space. So it's it's background. It's sort of it's in just a lot of space, a big room, just kind of gently pushing through the track. That's sort of what the backing vocal is doing, and that's just sort of the overall vocals and the ideas and what I've done to them.